Hey everyone, Sean B. Martin here. I am taking a look back at Dear Esther. And here we are back on a familiar dock. Oh, beautiful, beautiful landscape. Depth of field is fantastic. You got the beacon in the background at all times. The design of this game is phenomenal. It should win awards. And I've already used the word game, so I want to talk about that. But first I want to point something out. The design of this game is so thought out and planned that when I went in here to start recording this, I was like, well, I'll turn down the narrator in case he starts talking and I need to talk over him. But look, if you go to the audio settings, you can't break out audio from, you can't break out sound from music or sound effects from all the other sound or whatever. They have already figured out the exact mix that they want for the presentation to you, and you cannot change it, which I now that I see that, I actually admire that and think that that is a very interesting design choice. You can't turn off the narrator ever. He's always going to be inside your head. So let's get moving. I'm going to see if I can capture any ghosts on camera, and I will talk a little bit about my thoughts on the game while we go. There are a lot of things inside this little room here that I did not investigate fully. I mean, there are hints and teasing things for just about every aspect of the story in this lighthouse room. As far as I'm concerned, everything that you're presented with in this game is a metaphor. The island itself is a metaphor. The beacon is a metaphor. Everything that you see along the way is somewhat metaphorical. Either like directly, like you can draw a straight line from what you're seeing to what is actually being told to you, or maybe you have to make a few connections, like the island and the ships. I mean, that you're going to reach. The island is someone's mind. The ships are perhaps people who have died or catastrophes in that person's life. But then you get things like the chemicals symbols on the walls, which are supposed to be directly from what the real world person is experiencing, waiting in a hospital room for probably the character of Esther to die. When I did my first playthrough, I was lucky enough to take the beach. It turns out if you take that high road, you'll get some narration that you did not get going this direction down here, but you will eventually have to come down here because the path breaks. And you have to come down here and then backtrack back up to it the way that I did in my playthrough. I'm not sure why it sometimes gives you the illusion of a branching path when you don't have the option at all, unless that is the point in and of itself, to give you the illusion of a branching path when you in fact do not have that option, because you're going to go in a straight line no matter what. I remembered later what I wanted to say about this. This is actually a half-life diagram. It is a mathematical curve that shows a half-life. This area is double the area of this quadrant, which is double the area of this quadrant, etc., etc. Which I thought was really interesting because of my interest in Half-Life, the series, which has absolutely nothing to do with this, except that this was developed in a Half-Life 2 mod engine originally. So that's kind of a weird little nod. I don't know what the actual curve is for.
I found myself
oh, narrator time.
As this ocean, as shallow and unoccupied as this bay, a listless wreck without identification.
Oh,
my rocks are these bones, and a careful fence to keep the precipice at bay.
He's so sad.
Shot through me caves. My forehead a mount. This aerial will transmit into me so. All overexposed, the nervous system, where Donnelly's boots and yours and mine still will trample. I will carry a torch for you. I will leave it at the foot of my headstone. You will need it for the tunnels that carry me underneath.
I'm experiencing weird audio lag that I wasn't my first playthrough around. The way I understand it, Esther, there's a possibility of Esther dying two ways. One of them is a car accident, which is why I saw the car accident scene when I fell through the cave, and which is also why you see things like tires and car doors and stuff all over the island, just strewn about. The other possibility is that Esther is dying of cancer, which hopefully, when I get to the cave again this time, we're going to see the other version. There is another scene that you can see when you fall through that cave, which I haven't seen yet, but I've heard about it. So I'm hoping I'm going to run into it. For those of you who were wondering who you are, the character, what are you? Are you Esther? Are you the man who's speaking? Are you Donnelly, the other character who's mentioned? I don't think it matters. I don't think you're any of them. I think you're you. I think you are being presented with an imagined world, and you're just experiencing it from some weird, omniscient view. And I think that's just the way it's supposed to be. I don't think you're supposed to try... You're obviously going to try to read into it which character you are, but I don't think you'll find any resolution there. I don't think you are any of the characters. Feel free to disagree with me. I would love to know what people think. When I started the game, before I started recording it, I just kind of walked around to get a feel for it. And one of the things that I tried to do, and this is something I really feel like you should try to do in any game, is kill yourself. Because it's always interesting what a developer tries to do, especially in a game where you're not supposed to kill yourself. So if you fall off a cliff or do something like this, let's see what happens.
Come back.
Now, I think that the most telling part of that is, let's do it again. Listen to what you're hearing. Tell me what you're hearing when this happens.
Come back.
Now, the way I'm interpreting that, the sounds that I'm hearing, one is a heartbeat. The washy sound, like wow, wow, wow. That's typically what a heart sounds like through a stethoscope. So I think that that's what that sound is. And then there's another sound. Listen for a faint clicking sound. I'm just going to do it one more time. You hear that?
Come back.
I would guess that sound, the clicking sound, is the car. So assuming that Esther has been in a car accident and perhaps our narrator was in it with her, I would assume that is the sound of the car after it's come to a stop, and that's one of the turn signals clicking. Which, man, the first time I heard that was the first time I started putting together a car accident scenario in my head, and I got chills from it. One of the things I haven't really been able to put my finger on what it means, if it's supposed to mean something, is the phosphorescence. Throughout the game, you encounter this paint all over the place. The paint can looks normal. I mean, it looks like something I have in my closet. But the fact that the paint itself is glowing and lit as if it is phosphorescent is strange. I mean, that's not the paint that you buy at Home Depot. I don't know if that's supposed to be telling in some way. Like, does that mean something? The fact that it is all like this, I don't know. And also, when I was in this cave the first time, I did not notice this sleeping bag somehow, which kind of freaks me out a little bit. Like most things in this game, kind of freak me out a little bit. And I want to get back to the point. I think I've got a little bit of time before the narrator starts talking again. The point about whether, in fact, this is a game. Roger Ebert is one of my favorite critics. He's an American film critic. And he has always maintained, for the last decade and a half, or however long it's been a matter worth thinking about, he's maintained that games are not art. By their sheer interactivity, they cannot be considered art. And I think Roger Ebert should play Dear Esther and then answer that question again. I've always disagreed with him about this point. I think Grand Theft Auto 4 is one of the finest achievements in American cinema that there is, and it's a video game. But he would not agree with me. He would not agree at all. And I find it very hard to believe that he could not consider this game art, because if he's going to go with the interactivity argument, He doesn't really have it here. This game, other than the option of not moving forward, there's not really much choice that you have. So we got to the Stonehenge area, or whatever this is. This is another area I'm curious to know what people think, because I don't know if there's some significance to these stones. However, this is pretty obvious. We have a chemistry notebook of some kind, and I don't know what that is. Kind of looks like a Bible. And considering all the allusions to Paul on the road to Damascus coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if it is supposed to be a Bible. Paul, the Apostle Paul, went through a transformation while he was on the road to Damascus. Fell on his knees, became a believer in God, and asked him to show him the way. And I think that allegory is pretty applicable to what is going on in the mind of the narrator throughout the course of this game. We have reached the part in my playthrough where a bunch of people spotted an entity for me. I'm going to try and do what I did the first time. I have a feeling that it won't matter and it just won't do it again. But up on the left side, as I turn here, on the left side on my playthrough, and you can go back and watch the second part yourself if you missed it, there is a black shadow that moves along the cliffside wall at about the same speed as me the whole time. And I did not notice it when I was playing, or else I might have investigated it. But, oh, there it is. I see it. Oh, if you look at it, it fades. Okay, it is. See how strong it is when I have it in my periphery? It's on the very left of my screen right now. It's moving towards the cliff, or towards the edge. And if you look directly at it, it fades away. That is amazing. If I look away, does it... Oh my god, that's so awesome. So, if I want to try and keep it in my periphery while I move towards it. Can I do that? Nah, I already can't see it. I think I've lost it. Maybe if you get too close to it, it just disappears and doesn't come back. But geez, that is... Oh, it freaked me out, and I have no... When someone pointed it out, I was like, oh my god! I'm being haunted! I wish I knew where the rest of them were in the game. I'm sure there are more.
I began to wonder if Donnelly's voyage here was as prosaic as it was presented.
Okay, so it definitely disappears if you go up there. I want to see if I come back down here, if it will reappear. Or if I've scared it off entirely. Ah, what a cool effect. What a very, very cool and freaky effect. Okay, is it back? Or is it gone? I think it's gone. Which is, if I were developing this and I wanted to do that effect, I would make it disappear too. Yep, it's definitely gone. Ah, that's so cool. So cool. Good idea. I don't think it is an accident at all that this ruined ship here with a mast resembles a crucifix. I think that is very intentional. I mean, look at the lighting as you approach this. That is fantastic imagery right there. That's just amazing. And you're forced to walk up from this angle. Like, no matter... There's no way to get here any other way. If you try and slide down that thing, it puts you back up on top. You have to go this way. You have to see that. And as far as the themes of the story go in the game, I think that is very, very intentional. After you fall down into the cave, there's a pretty clear... I mean... How far, first of all, how far did you fall? Like, really, really far. You wake up on your back, and the glass in your flashlight is broken. Why aren't you hurt? I mean, that should be one of the first, like, really overt indications that you are not alive. Or you're not a mortal being, or something. Like, this is either imagined, or you're just not, you are fictional. And I'm leaning towards you're fictional. This is easily my favorite room in the game, but I'm pretty sure it's probably a lot of people's favorite room in the game. I mean, how can it not be? I'm surprised that my computer can make things that look like this. It's pretty amazing to me. Ah! Ah. Whee! I can swim. Ugh, okay. Yeah, just amazing. Award for Best Toadstool Design goes to Dear Esther. Oh, they're so pretty. I just want to pick one. Oh, I also just realized that they're... Oh, I feel so ripped off. I just realized that they're two-dimensional sprites, aren't they? I did not notice that until just now. Look at that. If you move around them, they move. Oh, that makes me so sad. I was so impressed by them until just this second, and now I realize that they're two-dimensional. Which is why they look so good, I'm sure. But when you're just going through them in a straight line, you would never notice. You have to actually do this to notice. Oh, man. I destroyed the illusion. It's ruined. Okay, am I getting to the part where I fall through the thing yet? Oh my god, I keep forgetting how amazing these rooms look.
Dream, I sat at peace with Jakobsen and watched the moon over the Sandford Junction. Goats grazed on the hard shoulder. The world gone to weed and redemption. He showed me his fever scars, and I mine. Between each shoulder, the nascency of flight.
Isn't that interesting? I think that is I think he is alluding to the end of the game right there, and I did not know that the first time around. Also, the first time around, I did not explore this room, so I'm gonna kind of peek around a little bit. There's another diagram that I missed. These are really interesting. I don't remember seeing these pointy things before. They're like crystals. How far? Ooh, hello. Water. How far can you go this way? Okay, about that far. Oh! Whoa, no way! It's the paper boats, and one just drifted past me. Are more coming? That was amazing timing. It gave me chills. Again, this game is like, all it does is give me chills. Ugh, can I get out of here, please? If you walk off into the water in the very beginning of the game where you start on the dock, it's very, very hard to get back out. You have to assign a key to, there's a command to ascend out of the water, but it is unassigned by default. You have to, if you get lost in the water, you have to assign it and climb out. The game will not help you get out. You just sit underwater for all eternity. It's kind of weird. Alright, so I want to go over there. And I'm going to take the road less traveled and not take the bridge. What is under the bridge? For that matter, what's down here? Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Into the water again. Oh, it doesn't like me doing that. I've run into an invisible wall. Okay, there we go. There's quite a light source over here. Anything worth looking at? Oh my god, it's beautiful. Beautiful and deadly looking. Okay, so I wanna know what's at the other end, and then I'll head up. Probably nothing interesting. I haven't seen any other ghosts, unfortunately. I don't know where to look for them. I wish I did. Yeah, nothing here except a water source that seems to come from nowhere. It just like comes out of a crack in the wall. Oh, it is the ocean that I'm hearing. Okay. I freaked out a little bit. I whipped around like, oh my god, there's someone behind me, but I think it's just the sounds of the ocean. Here's the diagram again. That is an electrical diagram of some sort. That is a resistor symbol right there. I think this thing is a capacitor or something. I took an electronics class once. I know some stuff. Here's where the Road to Damascus stuff really starts in earnest, and this tunnel is maybe my singular favorite thing in the entire game. When you stand still, you almost can't, like, it ruins your depth perception. You can't really see what you're looking at. And then when you move, you finally get a sense of where the depth is. And the paintings, the textures, just fantastic. A problem with a lot of games like this is when you get up close, you find problems where the textures don't quite Like, there's a straight line right there, running from the middle of the screen straight up. That's something that artists try and avoid, and this tunnel, you won't find that except for maybe right there. This tunnel is pristine and perfect. It has been designed very, very carefully. It's a beautiful achievement. Okay, I think we're about to find out which little dream sequence I get to experience. Hopefully it is the one I haven't seen yet. And let's fall through the waterfall. Here we go. Hold on. Same one again. Damn. I may have to go back and I gotta see it. I want to see it for myself. What are these things? Mile markers or something? How far away from this can I go? If I just try and move away from the main action, what's gonna happen? Ah, haunting sounds of squealing tires. Okay, so it's just gonna move me into the next part, no matter what I do. Okay, good to know. I would have gotten to experience more dialogue if I had walked towards the cars, but that's the way it goes. Okay. Moon time. Ah. So, our character's undergone a transformation. You go underwater, and then you fall off this pit, and then that is the first time that you're presented with the sheer reality of what you're dealing with, whether that is the car accident or if it puts you in the hospital. And from that moment on, you get to see the moon, and I think that is a storytelling decision, that you've been revealed the truth, and the moon is the truth. That is the manifestation of the truth in the mind of whoever this is and their own personal island. When I did the vlog about this game and announcing that it was coming to this channel, I mentioned a PC game that no one has said anything about, which makes me wonder if no one's heard of it, which is interesting. There's a PC game called Sanitarium, which you play the main character who has been driven insane by some fact that you're not entitled.
I returned home with
narrator.
a pocket full of stolen
Look,
ash.
there's a ghost!
Half of it fell out of my coat and vanished into the car's upholstery. But the rest I carefully stowed away in a box I kept in a drawer by the side of my bed. It was never intended as a meaningful act, but
as I get closer,
it
he
became a kind
fades.
of talisman. I'd sit still, quite still for hours, just holding the diminishing powder in my palm, noting its smoothness. In time, we will all be worn down into granules, washed into the sea and dispersed.
You still see him up there? He's up in the upper right corner. I bet that there is a ghost in each section of the game. In each one of the 4 sections. There's probably at least one. And, as far as I'm concerned, the ghost is not a ghost. The ghost is you. Just, in a couple minutes. Because, like, it's always along a pathway that you can experience, too. I'm going to be up there momentarily, probably looking the exact same direction. And, since this place is not real, time doesn't matter, so why couldn't that be you up there? Oh, he's still up there. I can still see him. Okay, so anyway, Sanitarium. You play this character, he's experienced some kind of tragedy, and even he does not know what it is. And then you play through the game in...
There were chemical stains on the tarmac.
Narrator. See, why do you think I was trying to turn off the narrator for the sound mix? So you play this character who goes through different environments, and many of them are obviously imagined. Some of them you're not sure if they're real or imagined. It came out in 2001 or maybe 2000. It was a while ago. It's on 3 CDs. I still have it, and it may be worth me pulling out for this channel. So I will include a link in the info. The wiki article is very sparse. There's not much information. There is at least one full playthrough on YouTube by another YouTuber. I will put that in the info as well. Check it out. Let me know if you're interested in me playing it. I'm kind of interested in playing it again. I haven't experienced it since that first time when it first came out. And it would be interesting to try it again. There's that ghost. He's still standing there. I feel like I spotted him on my first play. I'll have to go back and look at the video. I feel like I saw him, and then by the time I realized it, I was too close to see him. He's still in the upper right corner, just barely. He's fading out, and now he's out of my sight, so I'm not going to see him again. Ah, what a good idea. So we're headed for the beacon, or the aerial, as the narrator calls it, and I do not know if the narrator... I don't know if the narrator is dead or dying or if he's simply distraught. The way that I would like to read this, and kids, suicide is never the answer. The way I want to read this is Esther dies and our narrator is suicidal. And from a storytelling perspective, I'm fine with that. If this were a guy I knew in real life, I would be like, knock it off. You're still alive. But I think that maybe our narrator is the one with the cancer. And Esther has died with absolutely no sickness. The narrator feels guilty. But things like this is like your last chance. Like, it's telling you you're going to die if you proceed beyond this point. And because you don't really have a choice, you proceed beyond that point. And when you reach the top of the aerial, well, if you've seen it already, you know what happens. I think the narrator views death as a transformation, and the transformation that takes place is poignant, but kids, you're not going to turn into a bird if you kill yourself. So don't do it. So here we've reached the end. When you get here, the game takes away control from you to climb the aerial. And we'll just experience this this last little bit together.
We will leave twin vapor trails in the air. White lines etched into these rocks.
Here we go.
Dear Esther.
So what do you think, dear traveler? Is our narrator dead? Does it matter? Who was Esther? Who were the people mentioned? Why am I now a bird? I would love to know everything that you think about this game. I've tried to express all my thoughts about it. Regardless of what you draw from it, it is a beautiful experience and a beautiful story. And I hope you enjoyed traveling along it with me. Thanks, and I'll see ya.